Okay? The reality is that you have a lot of people there that are anxiously awaiting him stepping on the field during an NFL game that counts to see what he's got, to see what he's made of. To rehash his story just a little bit, Shedeur Sanders, initially coming out into the draft, projected to be a top 2 or top 3 quarterback taken in the draft, fell to the number 144th pick overall, a 5th round pick. And it was widely assumed that the biggest reason that happened was because of his daddy, primetime Deion Sanders. You know, you had some people out there saying that bravado was too much, that they were giving indications that if they didn't like where they were going to be drafted, that wasn't someplace they were going to go. And without collusion even needing to be necessary, you had owners that were saying, we ain't taking him, we ain't taking him, we ain't taking him, until the Cleveland Browns ultimately did in the 5th round with the 144th overall pick. Needless to say, since that time has come, Shedeur Sanders performed well in a preseason game against the Carolina Panthers, performed significantly less than well, pretty badly, in another preseason game, and was considered to be outplayed by Dillon Gabriel, who was another rookie draft pick drafted before Shedeur Sanders. And as a result, he was the QB2. Sanders has been named the QB3. Joe Flacco was the QB1 for the Cleveland Browns. And when you look at their defense, you know they're legit, they're real. And you know if anything's holding them back, what's really, really holding them back, more so than anything else, it's their offense. It's not their defense. Because when you look at Myles Garrett, a monster if ever there was one on the defensive side of a football field. He is the best in the business. Nobody can deny it. Myles Garrett is that dude. All right? And then you look at some of the other pieces that they have. Clearly, if they had any kind of offense, the Cleveland Browns would easily be a title contender. But because they don't have any offense, they're a shell of themselves right now. They're desperately in need of a quarterback, and that's what's going on. Okay? Needless to say, Coach Kevin Stefanski had to talk about this because he's the only active NFL coach who's been named Coach of the Year multiple times in 2020 and 2023. We know he can coach, but we also know that this team is not good enough because they don't have offensive weapons. And they're trying to find a quarterback. Everybody's looking at them, begging them to get their act together and what have you. And Shedeur Sanders has been unapologetic about his confidence and what he believes he can do on an NFL field when given the opportunity, and that simply has not happened yet. And so anytime he says anything, it's going to be taken and just blown up into astronomical proportions. Unfortunately, my colleague at ESPN, ESPN's Rex Ryan, went on Get Up earlier this week and said that Sanders wasn't ready, questions his readiness for NFL speed and decision making, and basically said stuff like just shut the hell up and play and blah, 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 blah. One could easily argue that would have been excessive, and it's kind of crazy for Rex Ryan to tell somebody to shut up. But you know what? The bottom line is this. I understood where he's coming from. And Rex Ryan is one of the most brilliant defensive minds this game has ever seen as a coordinator. I know if you're a New York Jets fan, if you're a Buffalo Bills fan, you might not feel that way about the job he did as a head coach, even though Rex Ryan did go to a couple of AFC championship games. We keep forgetting that. But in the end, the bottom line is that they might have felt he was a bit too harsh with Shedeur Sanders. With all of that being said, Coach Kevin Stefanski had some things to say about his QB3 still. And by the way, I was on the record saying he shouldn't be a QB3. He should be a QB2 because we know you ain't putting Joe Flacco back in the damn game. So why would you even have him as a QB2 when you know his 40-plus-year-old self is just there as a security blanket? Is this really about Dillon Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders' team for the time being moving forward? But nevertheless, that's what the situation is. And Kevin Stefanski was being talked to by reporters about these very issues. Here's what the head coach for the Cleveland Browns had to say. Take a listen.
From the second he's been here, he's been working very hard, very intelligent young man. He's done a nice job throughout practice. And he's been, this whole season, he's been learning how to get yourself ready and understand the rhythm of an NFL week and what that looks like as a backup. And obviously now feel like he's ready to go in as a starter.
So that's what he's saying, okay? And we get that part. We understand it. So what's the big brouhaha about? Brouhaha about? Well, if you watch it on camera, you can, this is anything. He's pantomiming as if he's speaking, but he's really not really saying anything, okay? He's moving his lips, he's moving his body language, etc., but he's not saying anything. Now, a lot of people look at that and they say it's immature. What the hell is he doing? To me, what he was saying is, no matter what I say, it's going to be taken out of context or it's going to be blown up and exploited, and it's not going to do me any good. It's only going to be harmful. Because you know how people are. Every coach, every organization wants their quarterback, in terms of dealing with the media, having press conferences or being interviewed, they all want their quarterbacks to be like Dak Prescott. You know, you're articulating yourselves pretty well, but in the end, when it comes to dissecting and interpreting what you're saying, you said absolutely not a damn thing. Give the media nothing. Give them nothing. Just give them lip service and say what they're going to say. Nobody's better at that than Dak Prescott. We all know this, okay? So that's what they want from Shedeur Sanders. Here's what I would say to y'all. Fair enough. If you are Shedeur Sanders, I want to say, I think the young brother's smart. He's only 23 years of age. He is smart. He is talented. He is accomplished. Jackson State and then ultimately Colorado, and what we saw him do on a collegiate level at both programs was very impressive. We can't deny that. We can't deny his poise under pressure and what he's capable of delivering. His ability to learn, adjust, adapt, and ultimately grow. And the pedigree is definitely unquestionable. His daddy may be the greatest athlete we've ever seen in American history. I mean, we could throw Bo Jackson out there, we could throw a few others out there, but how can we definitively say we have seen a greater athlete than primetime Deion Sanders? As a football player, as a baseball